give me a verbal. It's able to speak.
Yes, we
Cool.
can.
Thanks, Daisy. Hey, everyone. So thanks for joining. Welcome. Thanks for attending our career conversations, translating transferable skills with JB Hunt. Um, Aaron Forjone is going to be our guest speaker for tonight with JB Hunt. So welcome everybody. This session will be recorded. Thank you, Angie, for being on top of that. My name's Peter Bartel. I work on the career team here at SNHU. My colleagues Angie Woods, Daisy Gillum, Dana McGrath, and Briar Mosley will all be kind of co-facilitating, presenting. You'll see us throughout in the chat box, etc., throughout the presentation tonight. So we'll dive into it. But thanks for joining. All right. So I'll read off our access and accommodations here at SNHU. Your experience here at Southern New Hampshire University is important to us. It is our policy and practice to create an inclusive and accessible learning environment. If there are aspects of this presentation's design or delivery that present barriers to accessibility, please notify the following for online students, Online Accessibility Center by emailing oac@snhu.edu or by phone at 866-305-9430. Campus students, Campus Accessibility Center by emailing cac@snhu.edu or by phone at 603-644-3118. SNHU staff and faculty, Human Resources Office by emailing hr@snhu.edu. All right. So many of you did find out about this event through Handshake, registered through Handshake, which is great. If you didn't, totally fine as well. But just know that all of our events that we put on through the career team here are listed on Handshake at this link you're seeing below. And Angie will put that in the chat in a bit as well for us. But absolutely feel free to access any of those events or check out the list at any time, in addition to using Handshake for checking jobs, internships, whatever else you may need, right? Networking. We have a plethora of events posted at any time. Dana McGrath and our team keeps that updated. Right now, we have like 30 to 40 with different employers at your disposal. So one of which is here tonight with JB Hunt, but absolutely good to keep checking that out. So we're going to dive into the presentation portion here, which is kind of our second phase beyond the intro slides. And then after Briar speaks for about 5-10 minutes on some career prep related stuff, we'll dive into our question and answer section with Aaron Forjone. And feel free, by the way, throughout the session here, list any questions you have in the chat. I know your mics, if you're attending, and your cameras are disabled, but you can still have access to the chat. You should see the icon towards the upper right of your panel. So absolutely engage in the chat, any questions you have. Also, while we're getting started here, feel free to say hi, where you're from, what your major is. This is great for networking with each other, so feel free to put your LinkedIn profile link in there. And again, yes, any questions that come up throughout, because we got some great content from Briar, and then from our guest Aaron with the Q&A portion as well. Feel free to put any other questions in the chat, as there will be time for open Q&A at the end of the session. So I'll introduce Briar. Briar Mosley works on our career team here as an SNHU career advisor, supporting over 1,200 online students annually. With professional experience in hospitality, talent acquisition, public relations, and higher education, Briar understands the importance of personal branding and networking, as well as how relevant skills can be positioned toward new opportunities. Briar's knowledge and career advice has been highlighted on careerconnectors.org and vcandidates.com. Absolutely look up Briar on LinkedIn. He's a go-getter there, and you'll see a lot of great professional career readiness related content from him there as well. Briar has a master's degree in education from Arizona State University and earned a coaching and mentoring certificate from AICPA. From the AICPA, sorry. So I'll turn it over to Briar. So Briar, go ahead.
Thank you, Peter, for the intro. And again, I just want to reiterate, if you do have any questions about any of the content that I'm going over during this presentation, do feel free to leave those in the chat, and we will get to those at the end. So I just want to give a precursor or a quick intro into SNHU Career Services and career advising and what we do there. So what we do in career services is we support SNHU learners and alumni through all things career. So as long as you're a student or as long as you're an alumni, we'll help you with really any aspect of career that you may need assistance with. May it be like resumes or LinkedIn or asking for a raise or writing a resignation letter or how to approach your boss. There's really like no limit of things that we can support you with. But we don't offer any type of job placement. We don't have a list of jobs that we can offer you or a list of jobs that we can send you, but we can totally sit down with you for like a one-on-one, 30 minutes, an hour, go through LinkedIn together, find jobs that we can apply to, and we can apply to those jobs together. So though we may not have those job list or job placement services, we absolutely can help you apply to jobs and find careers out there. And like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but this is actually a service that's offered to you for life. So as long as you're a student, as long as you're alumni, this is something that you can always reach out to. So really, this is a service that can be utilized by you as soon or as late as you may need if you were to ever need. Okay, so the next slide is about transferable skills. Transferable skills is something we really like to highlight in career services because transferable skills are the skills that you can take from one experience to another and apply them to a new sector of your life. So it really doesn't matter if you're going from a pastry chef to becoming an astronaut. Every job, every volunteer experience, every class taken has provided you with some type of skill that you can bring to another sector of your life. So find those skills from your past experience, and we can highlight them on your resume and on your cover letter. If you're ever having trouble finding these transferable skills, you can always try reviewing job posts that you're interested in and see what skills are listed on that job post that that employer is looking for. And then we can incorporate those skills that you do have onto your resume, onto your LinkedIn, onto your cover letter to best prepare yourself for that position. And a lot of the time, all you really need is just a little creativity and something we can always help with at Career Services. Okay, so I think we have a pop quiz that should pop up on your screen right now. We're asking you which of these. We're going to go over the difference of hard skills and soft skills in the next slide. So the poll is which of these is a hard skill or a soft skill? So is Spanish language hard skill or soft skill? I give a couple of moments with the poll here. Okay, so I'm starting to see some of these results coming in. 83% hard skill for Spanish. Okay, so the correct answer actually is that Spanish is a hard skill. If we go to, if we're on this next slide, we can kind of go over the difference of soft skills and hard skills. So soft skills or common soft skills are communication, teamwork, time management, leadership, organization, working with diverse populations, ability to multitask. These are going to be more skills that you're not trained specifically on. These are going to be more skills that you can be born with and build on, compared to these hard skills like social media platforms, computer programs like Microsoft Office, Python, or other coding softwares, second languages, and sales. It's going to be more of those skills that we're trained to do. No one's born being an expert on TikTok. No one is born an expert on coding HTML, but it is something that we can learn and grow on. So that would be one of those hard skills compared to soft skills are more things that we learn in the workplace and don't necessarily study specifically. Okay, so ways to build these transferable skills. So there's a few different ways that we can find these transferable skills that everyone does have. Thinking critically is the first kind of step I always say to review. So what experiences can you pull from? A lot of the times, learners that I work with, they think they don't have skills because they're not getting it from a paid position, but transferable skills are not necessarily built in paid positions. These can be skills that come from all different components of your life, like book clubs, churches, PTA experience, um, academic projects, clubs, organizations, beauty pageants, parenting, volunteering. I mean, there's really the list goes on and on and on of all these different ways that we can build these transferable skills and find these transferable skills from other experiences that we've had outside of professional experiences or paid experiences. Also, as an SNHU student, we have special access to LinkedIn Learnings. So taking advantage of those free training and certification courses can be particularly useful. LinkedIn Learning is not free to everyone, but it is free to SNHU students. And it includes video series that go over all types of topics. It goes over things like software programming, leadership. You can learn about crypto. I've even seen like how to become a DJ and mix music. So I mean, really, there is a LinkedIn Learning video for everyone and every interest. And the best thing about these is that they also produce you with a certificate as well as a badge for your LinkedIn profile. So you can build that skill that you may be lacking on, or you can capitalize on that skill that you want to highlight for a particular position and show that through a certificate. You can throw that through mentioning that course was completed on your resume, or including that on your LinkedIn. The last thing I'd like to touch on, especially for ways to build transferable skills, is to not forget about remote options, especially post-pandemic. The remote options or virtual options to get access to all types of things has exploded. So remember that there are ways to volunteer remotely. That's a great way to volunteer, especially through like political campaigns. They need a lot of remote volunteers. Freelancing, you can do tutoring. I've even seen online churches that people can participate in. So if you're maybe in a rural area or you're on a tighter schedule that you don't have a lot of flexibility to commute back and forth, remote options is always a great option to kind of build those transferable skills through remote platforms. Okay, so the next slide is job search and resume tips. So when we're doing job searching, especially through career services, and you contact career services for the first time, one of the things that we like to encourage students or learners to do right away is to explore job board sites like Handshake and like LinkedIn. Um, Not necessarily make a profile. I'm not trying to overwhelm anyone, but if you just view the jobs that are posted and start using keywords in your industry or skills that are imperative to the job that you're looking for or the industry that you're in, that will start populating some of these jobs, especially jobs in your area. And you can review those job descriptions and see what type of education background they're looking for, what kind of skills that they're looking for, what kind of hard skills, soft skills they're looking for, how important is it that someone is in person or remote. So it's always a really great place to start on LinkedIn just to see what is available to you in your area and in your field. For students or learners that are recently graduated and more entry level, keywords to look up are always coordinator and specialist. Those are always going to be more of those entry level positions and perfect for the new graduate. Resume tips. So when we're going over our resume, we have tons of templates that we can offer you through career services. So if you don't have a resume or you want a resume review, you can always reach out to career services. We can provide you with templates that you can kind of fill in the blanks to help get the ball rolling. The advice I always give on building resumes is build a template with the information that isn't going to change from your experiences. So your name's not going to change, your email's not going to change, where you went to school is not going to change, where you worked is not going to change, how long you worked there isn't going to change. But we are going to create the opportunity to still make unique resumes for every job that you apply to by changing the bullets or the descriptions that we include underneath those experiences that we list. So though that our experience of where we worked and what we were doing in terms of at least our title may not change, but we can change how we were highlighting those skills to best position ourselves for whatever it is the job that we're applying to. So it is really important to create those unique resumes for every individual job that we're applying to, and not using the same exact resume template to every single job we're applying to. The reason that we really like to emphasize on this is this last bullet here under resume tips is applicant tracking systems. It's something that a lot of learners, a lot of job hunters aren't aware of or aren't familiarized with. And in a nutshell, what that is when a company is posting a job posting online, they're scanning your resume that you've submitted and all the words that included in that resume, and they're scanning all the words in that job posting, and then they're cross-checking how many of those keywords that they're looking from that job posting are matching the keywords in your resume. So it's really important that we're reviewing those job descriptions before we're creating that or making our resumes unique before submitting, so we can include the keywords that we're using. Sometimes it can be as small as a discrepancy as using words like coaching instead of mentoring, because that is a certain keyword that they're looking for. So it is really something to familiarize yourself with. We have LinkedIn Learnings that familiarize us with ATS. We have other resources through Career Services that can be provided to you. So definitely something to look into and familiarize yourself when applying and sending out those resumes. Okay, there's the final slide here. I think for me is preparing for the interview. So make an impression and be confident in your skills are the two things that I always like to remind people when they're going into an interview. First off, remember that they are interested in you. I know you're nervous. I know interviewing can be daunting. It can be nerve-wracking, but they called you, they saw your resume, they reviewed who you are, they took time to set up an interview with you and schedule a time. Like they want to get to know you, they want this to work out. So remember that going into this. Be confident in your skills. The skills that you have already brought you into this interview. Practice, practice, practice. I don't know about 3 practices, but at least 1 practice. You know, there are certain common interview questions that are asked in a lot of interviews. Some industries are even more specific than others. So if you know you're going into a bunch of computer science or data entry or anything like that, look up the common interview questions in there beforehand. Also, we have LinkedIn Learnings that kind of go through that. But you know, everyone gets asked that very first question of tell me a little about yourself or walk me through your resume. We have, of course, resources that can help you prepare that answer, but you know at least those types of answers or those types of questions, I mean, are going to be asked. So prepare yourself somewhat with a couple of questions that are going in and also questions you're going to ask your interviewer at the end of the interview. Uh, Research the company and contacts. So it's super important to familiarize yourself with the company's mission, with maybe the work that they're doing, current events that they've been involved in, maybe philanthropies that they're really involved in, any notable areas of importance that will showcase that you've prepared for this, you've done this research on the company, you've done research on the position, and this isn't just another application that you've sent out and you're coasting through an interview. So just having that little extra knowledge of knowing what the company is about and what they've been up to can really set the tone because you're going to be interviewing people who work at that company, who are excited about working in that company and like working in that company. So the more that you know about that you can kind of showcase that you're in the know, the better you're going to be off in your interview and with your interviewer. The last couple of pieces here is be professional. Make sure you're dressed in professional wear. If you're not sure of what business professional wear looks like or what industry requires what kind of interview attire, we have resources for that. We can totally help you with that as well. Typically, it's going to be more dark, more muted colors, more professional wear with button-ups, blazers, closed-toed shoes, things like that. But don't forget about professional speak as well. That's another key factor to remember. It doesn't matter if we're in person or if we're interviewing remotely. We still want to act as if we are at work and really conduct ourselves in that type of way. And the final piece is to say thank you. I think something that's often forgotten at the end of these interviews that we see that is a really easy way to put yourself back in that interviewer's mind is to just say thank you. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. It can be a quick email that says, thanks for taking the time. I'm super excited to see how the rest of this goes. But do make a point to pretty much within the first 24 hours, I would say as soon as you can, make that point to say thank you to your interviewer, send that email, send that message through LinkedIn or however it is that you connected, make that phone call, and just thank them for that time and that consideration. Okay. Oh, and this is all of our contact information. So please do reach out to us by email. You can always email cocecareer@snhu.edu. You can even just upload your resume directly to that email and say, hey, could someone please review this for me? We're happy to do any type of that. Any of that type of career support, but that email goes straight to a career advisor. The phone number, same sort of thing. Call that number, come straight to one of our career advisors on the phone. We'll be happy to help you in the moment or set up something with you in the future if you need any type of help. We also are on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So make sure to check us out. Excuse me. So we're going to open up a little bit of this career conversation with Aaron Forjone from JB Hunt. Aaron is a talent sourcer with JB Hunt and an SNHU alum. Aaron holds an MBA from SNHU with a concentration in human resources management. He was raised in the Finger Lakes region of New York as a father of 4 and loves helping people. So please let's welcome Aaron, please.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Aaron. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you. So we have a couple of questions for you, Aaron, here that were submitted that we were hoping you could kind of elaborate on. The first is tell us a little about, or could you please tell us a little about of JB Hunt and your current role there?
So JB Hunt is one of the third largest logistics company in North America right now, and we're growing fast, very fast. To give you an example, our talent acquisition team was at around 30 people last year. We're up to 110, 112. And that's just the HR portion of the company. So it kind of gives you an idea. We employ around, I think it was like 35,000 people. I can't remember the exact number. A good chunk being drivers, yes. But you got to remember there's so much more to logistics than just driving, all the behind the scene things that go on for the operations, the clients. It's a never ending machine. So like what last week we had that shutdown for the railways. That was, these guys in operations and women, they make things happen. They shuffle things and make sure your goods still end up in the stores to get them. So it's a great company. I've been with them almost a year, since October of last year, and the culture's amazing. They're very positive, and I'm thankful they found me. To be honest, I came from a toxic work environment prior to that, and this is the total opposite. So it's great. And so I started with them as a recruiter for maintenance for the Northeast. And I did that up until about May of this year. And they asked me if I wanted to make a lateral move as a sourcer. I'm like, sure. What will I be sourcing? They're like, we're still going to do maintenance, but, we figured you're already involved with it. So why not? I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I like it so far.
It's always good to hear good reviews from a company's employees, from their employees. Um, I was curious, and we had a couple of questions, and about what are the best entry-level positions or maybe stepping stone positions at JB Hunt, especially in that operational or that corporate setting.
So they have a big outreach, especially for college students like that are just starting. They have entry level manager trainee roles. I'll drop the link if anyone ever wants to check it out. But there's so many different business units. Depending on what your field is, we probably have something. There's that to check it out. But there is a lot of trainee roles. So like if you're trying to get into a certain sector in the operations, check it out. Our recruiters are great. They'll walk you through it. It's hard to say. Like me, I came into TA as a recruiter, and now that I'm seeing where I can go, and there's so many mentors, like I want to be a senior recruiter. That's my end goal for them. I don't really want to get into the executive stuff or anything like that. I've met some senior recruiters that have been there since like the early 80s or late 80s, I think, which is crazy. Like she has some cool stories, some very cool stories. So it's just plotting out where you want to go, but check out any of the entry levels. If you're into programming, we need a lot of programmers, like you were mentioning Python and things like that. We're looking for that. We got we got a lot. Like I said, we're growing. They just bought 2 cargo ships last month to have direct shipments from China to Seattle to help the flow of the supply chain imports.
Kind of how you were mentioning that like Python skills or similar skills to that are sought after in these entry level or like stepping stone positions. Um are there other certain skills that you've noticed, or any trends in skills or certain traits that are most desirable right now in that sort of position?
Yeah, you're like the hard skills or soft skills. Like what do you?
I guess really either. Any of these trends that you'd see that maybe would be kind of at the top of the list.
Adaptability is a good one. Always being able to learn and be willing to learn new things, because there's some people they don't like change, but in the era that we live in, change is consistent right now. So like look at what COVID did to everybody. We went remote, we went hybrid. Now people are switching back to the old ways, kind of, because it is what it is. But just have great communication skills. Leadership is always a plus. Like if you're not scared to get out there and lead, people need good leaders and mentors.
Hey,
Those are,
Aaron. Sorry to interrupt. Aaron,
yeah,
are you
yeah.
able to go on camera? I think we just forgot to mention you can turn it on if you feel fit.
Oh, it's on.
Oh,
Oh, I
It
can see
must
him. Can
be.
you not see him, Peter?
No, Daisy can't see him either. We were just saying, but all good then.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
on.
Carry
Yeah,
on.
you're all right. But yeah, and then as for like the hard skills, everybody has their foundation they start with. Like that's what I loved about SNHU. SNHU was just mixed with people from so many different levels, in the industries. And you got to meet people from all over in the industries. So, you just kind of take what you got and build upon it. You know what I mean? In my background, I started in communications. And then somehow I ended up here in the recruiting world in logistics. Originally I wanted to go work in a radio station and be a DJ. And this is where I'm at. And I like it. I enjoy it. I don't watch the clock. So
Kind of speaking on how you got to becoming a recruiter, I find a lot of times when we are speaking with recruiters or we're featuring recruiters, it's never the first thing that they never signed on for that from the beginning. They never graduated from undergrad and say, I'm going to be a recruiter. So kind of curious of what your pathway to getting there was, and how you got interested in becoming a recruiter and landed in that position, especially with utilization from your degrees from SNHU.
So when I first got involved, I was working for a deco actually as a shift manager type deal for a manufacturing facility. And then they got bought out by another staffing agency that took over the contract. And I kind of moved into this position that I was wearing multiple hats. I was recruiting, I was managing the shifts for multiple shifts in the factory for about 200 and something temporary employees. And it was crazy. I ended up moving up in rank and took over as the area manager. But during all this, meeting the people and dealing with them and seeing what they're going through and what the company was going through on the legal side of things, I was like, I wanted to learn more about HR. So I did. And that's when I signed up for SNHU. And I just, I don't know, I enjoyed lining people up with a career or taking their skill sets and matching them up with something they enjoyed. Because they would always come back, like, oh, thank you for the opportunity. They were so happy, in the long run. It just, no money could, place that in my eyes.
Thank you. I also had a question that was asking you to touch a bit on your freelance and business owner experiences and kind of what that's been a little what that experience has been about.
That's been a little rough, so I started Finger Lake staffing right around when COVID started, I think 2020. I had left my previous employer, Full Steam Staffing, because we reached the ceiling and we parted ways. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start my own agency. I want to do direct placements. I don't want to deal with temporary labor. I want to help people find a career. So I started it and I kind of put it on the back burner, had some family time, and then this year I just been really digging into it. And I I've not grown it because JB Hunt keeps me pretty busy at the moment, but it's going. I'm out there sourcing and looking for candidates. And like the best advice I could give somebody that wants to start their own business, do it. If not today, when? You're just going to keep putting it off. And if you don't ever take the risk, you're not going to learn. So I started my LLC. I filed for all my tax ID numbers. I just did it all in one night. Sat at the computer, got it all done. Don't be intimidated by it. Google is a great resource. It's there. Everything you need to learn is at your fingertips. You just got to go out there and look for it and start it. Right now, I'm looking to fill two roles. One's a data analysis or data analyst in like St. Louis, and I use like with sourcing. You I don't know if you guys have heard of like scraping and things of that nature, where you pretty much headhunt people. You're online, you're searching for them, and then you're just refining until you find their contact information. I got a few good ones lined up, so hopefully the company likes them. But the payout's pretty decent too, like a $15K payout to place one person. So it's an interesting field.
Yeah, being able to start your own business is quite like, the brave thing to do. Do you have any advice, or maybe like in a nutshell, or one piece of advice that you would give to people who are maybe about to start their own business or about to graduate and start their new career?
Yeah, like use your resources at hand. If you got the SBA around in your community, go talk to somebody. There's mentorship programs. Don't be scared to reach out to somebody or even talk to a local business owner and pick their brain. If you need some advice. If you don't want to do any of that, at least go online, do your research, learn your market. Um, Niche markets are great. If you can get into a niche market, like right now, IT is a huge one for recruiting. Huge. IT and healthcare. They're like during COVID, I watched that explode. I had someone offer to buy my company before I was even going, and I was just like, no. They're like, well, go after the healthcare sector. You'll start growing it fast, and then just come call us back. I'm good. I don't want to deal with healthcare. It's crazy right now. But yeah, just educate yourself. Don't sign anything without reading the fine print and all that kind of stuff. Just do your research. But don't be scared. Don't be intimidated by it.
Or read before you sign. Don't be intimidated, and use your resources. Okay, I think those are solid pieces of advice. I think I have exhausted my list of questions, but Peter has a few questions from the chat that I think he's going to dive into. But thank you so much, Aaron.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you. Hey, Peter.
Hey, thanks, Briar. Awesome. So it is open for Q&A moving forward. Absolutely, students and alumni, faculty, staff. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Carl already kicked us off, put one in, so we'll read it, but just another verbal on it. If you have any questions, we got another half hour here, so put them in the chat for sure. Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, is that the one that? Let's see, this one right here. I see. What opportunities exist for veterans? What skills or degree are you looking for?
Yep.
So we have a group of people that will help out the vets at JB Hunt. We love our veterans. We take good care of them. As for Georgia and Charlotte, North Carolina, and operations, there's definitely something. Give me one moment to pull something up. So the way it works is we have so many business units. Like the business unit I help out with sourcing is maintenance, just maintenance. So like I'll overlook helping them find techs for all the different shops from the West Coast to the East Coast. And prior to that, I was just recruiting for the Northeast. So like looking for skill sets for operations, I would think, they just good leadership, office skills like your Excel and things like that, data analysis. You're going to be dealing with truckloads and clients. Let's see what we got in here for Georgia for you. But I can get you set up with the recruiter for that area if you want to. On the side, I can send you some information. Yeah, but
We had a question too, Aaron, about, oh, and by the way, students, if you do want to speak and be on camera, that is also an option in addition to the chat. There should be a hand raising option, the reactions tab in the top middle. If you click that and then click the raised hand, we'll call on you. We'll see your hand raised, and you can go on camera, speak if you prefer to ask your question that way instead of chat. The other question, and Aaron, I'll put your career page link. I know you already posted in the chat if you scroll up, but we had a question on any remote opportunities as well.
Yeah, there definitely is. If you're into programming, we need a lot of programmers right now for all different types of projects they have going on, all different types. The one cool thing that we have is elevation, they call it. So say an employee comes up with an idea, you can submit it. It could be something basic, but if it helps evolve the company, they move with it, you get credit for it, and so on. And a lot of it has to do with the technology trends that are moving forward and us trying to keep with the times. And for those operation skills, they're looking for, let's see, ability to adapt to changing environments, analyze situations, recognize and deal effectively with existing and potential conflicts in individual groups or situations, meet or exceed team/driver needs and expectations, and provide excellent service in a direct or indirect manner, ability to recognize and anticipate and resolve organizational, operational process problems. And in the world of logistics, that can happen at any moment or all the time. It depends on who your clients are and what area you're in and how many trucks you're dealing with. It's ever moving machine. Let's see what else we got here.
It's a question on internships.
So yes, we have an internship program. Let me pull that link up real quick. Have a whole group of people that hand that. They've been going all around doing career fairs right now because college season's starting up. If you're interested, check that out, and someone will follow up with you about it.
And thanks, Aaron. There was another question as well from Daisy. What do you think is the skill you use the most day to day at JB Hunt?
Day to day, well, switching from recruiting to sourcing, I would say communication is the biggest one. Sourcing has turned into more data. It's just finding, and like right now I'm teaching myself Java, and learning how to clean up spreadsheets. It's different, from going and calling people and emailing them to pretty much finding that contact information and doing the first line of communication and then passing it to recruiter. It's been different, but yes, communication is key.
So that degree came in handy then.
Well, the degree, what came from the degree is the knowledge from the professors, like the industries they worked in. Like I had a professor, I can't recall his name right now, but he worked for Johnson & Johnson, and he was very knowledgeable about so many different scenarios and situations in business. He's the one that sticks out in my mind the most, actually. Financial math, yes, definitely needed it. Did I like it? No. It's needed. These are things that help in the long run. And like I just did my own transfer of my deed for property. I didn't hire an attorney. What's the need? If you know how to document and you understand the language, you don't need to pay somebody to do that. We're all at that level, or will get to that level where you could do it yourself.
And Aaron, when you're recruiting, right, with JB Hunt, what does an ideal, we'll call it rock star candidate, what does that look like for you?
So for me, because I'm in the maintenance sector, I would say somebody that is well-rounded in all the different types of engines for diesel. When it comes to tractors, like they have welding skills, they can read diagrams, they just know machines in and out. Ideally for operations, they got strong leadership and data analysis skills and people skills. But me, I'm chasing mid-level mechanics, sometimes the senior mechanics. So I want somebody with 10 years under their belt, and I'll try to snag them from Ryder or whoever for them to try to bring them over. You want good mentors like that in a shop because of that tribal knowledge is priceless. You know what I mean? So if you can get someone that's seasoned and bring them over, it's great. As for someone at entry level, when it comes to the maintenance side of things, we'll train them, but as long as they understand the basics, they won't come in as a trainee. But you have to have the air brake certification, the DOT inspections. I believe you actually get a DOT physical even working in the shop. So, but each business unit is different. Like right now, I said I'm in maintenance, so that's what I'm honed in at. When it comes to the other careers, there's so many of them to choose from. Like there's the light loads, full loads. And then we got JB Hunt 360, just the call center alone of what's in there and how that handles our customers and our drivers.
Hey,
Essentially,
in regards to follow up, Aaron,
yeah.
Breyer touched on this, right? Like thank you notes and all that post interview stuff. What's one of the most creative ways, regardless of type of position, what's one of the most creative ways you've had a candidate follow up with you that it has made them stand out?
Honestly, just a call, just them calling and saying, hey, I appreciate what you did and get me in front of the manager. I said, you're welcome. It makes you feel good, especially when the interview goes well. I've had a few of them that were rock stars. They went in and they didn't get it because they didn't get the money they wanted. But guess what? They still called me and said, thank you. I appreciate it. You did what you could. We just couldn't get to where I wanted to be at it. And that still made me feel good. We understood from the get-go. It's a two-way street, like you guys were saying earlier. So you don't be scared to talk in your interview. You're there selling your skills and making sure that the company is a match for you and the company's doing the same, that you're going to be a match for them and that you're what they need and they're willing to invest in you. So that's always the key thing to keep in mind during it.
Thanks. Yeah, I think with the interviewing, one thing that I know I get a lot from people that are trying to apply for jobs as well. I don't know about the pay, or I don't know about the hours. If it's not X hours, I can't do it, right? But I'm glad you brought up the interviewing, because it is a two-way street. And B, I mentioned it
That's
earlier, it's experience. So
yeah.
um, it's a great, if you go in there and well, maybe the hours won't work, that's okay. You just got an actual interview, real time, real life, right? We
Yep.
provide, Angie said it earlier in career here, we'll do mock interviews for you, but there's nothing better than the real thing. And if you go into a company and right away, maybe they mentioned the hours are overnight, right? And that doesn't work. But you don't have to tell them, well, the job's not for me. Honestly, be a little selfish and get that experience. I mean, you're there, and like Aaron said, it's a two-way street. So Aaron, I really appreciate you bringing that up.
So I like seeing people get comfortable during an interview, but don't get too comfortable. That's the biggest thing, because sometimes people will let it all go. They let it all go because they get too comfortable. So make sure you find your bearing. You want to be comfortable and be able to talk to them professionally and be a little loose, but analyze the situation. You know what I mean? Do your research on who that manager maybe is if you can. If they're a leisure manager, then all right. But if they're like prop and primp, then like these managers I deal with at the shop, they're a little different than getting in front of the board. You know what I mean? Total opposites of, like culture, not culture, but environments. You know, it's shop compared to being in an office. So just know your environment and what you're getting yourself into. I seen something here for training wise. We do the LinkedIn Learning, as I said earlier in the chat. I'm using it for Java right now. We have mentorship programs. I think that went along with the hard school question too. I love the does and donut thing. All right, sorry, Peter. What do you got? Anything?
No, nothing right now. Keep the questions coming. It's been great. I think actually we do have a hand raised. Hang on, let me go to it. Leah raised her hand. So Leah, I'm going to give you mic and camera permissions, and you have the floor.
Hi, so my name is Leah Word. I'm currently an online student through Southern New Hampshire University. First off, before I ask my question, I just want to say thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. Just with my experience, I'm going currently to, one second. I'm taking some online classes through Southern New Hampshire University. I'm pursuing my degree in project management and operations. My
Right.
undergrad is in education and my prior work experience is teaching. So if, like, for instance, I were interested in doing like an operations position at your company or at a company in general, how would you consider hiring a person with that diverse background? And
Yeah.
if so, why? And how could that person make themselves more employable to you?
Well, for one, everybody brings something different to the table. You know, having multiple minds on something, you can come up with better resolutions for problems when they come up. And I think that's how JB Hunt has thrived over the years is they listen to their people. It's it's key for their company. JB Hunt built this company with 6 trucks hauling chicken eggs. So it's wild. Um, but to get yourself in front of it, what I would do is like I would get my resume on our Workday site. I could probably link you up with a recruiter. Like get on LinkedIn, do your research, find the person you want for that department. Like say I wasn't involved and you wanted to just dig into this. Look up the recruiters at JB Hunt. See which one you want to speak to, or even find a manager of that business unit and message them. But if you're gonna just go right through Workday, put your resume up, shine those key skills at the top. You know what I mean? That's the big one. Make sure you can show them that, well, I'm great at planning, scheduling, leadership, all those key things that you'll see in the description that they're looking for. That's that's the big one with any company. Look at their job description and see what it is they're looking for. And you're going to regurgitate that. You're going to analyze what you've done and find some way to be like, all right, yeah, I've done that. I can put that on there and do this. And then when they actually follow up with me, I'll tell them how and why. That's the best way I would do it anyway, to get in front of somebody if you didn't have like someone networked there. But honestly, having the education background and then switching into operations management, it's just building on. You're going into a different sector and maybe you just want to grow. You want change. We have people that have been teachers in the company. We have people of all walks of life at the company. It's cool. It's actually the home of Walmart and Tyson. Like the city itself is amazing when I went to visit it.
Thank you for your time. And also, you mentioned something called Workday. I don't have access to the chat. I can't see what's being
Oh,
written there. So can you tell me where I can locate this?
so if you get a chance, just go to careers.jbhunt.com and it will take you to our careers page and allow you to search for any open positions. And you'll create an account, which is linked to our Workday and where your application gets filed. It's our employee tracking system. So once you're in there, we'll be able to keep track of where you're going, what you're applying for, and you only have to do it that one time. So if you see multiple positions that you like, you can just kind of like Indeed, in a way you can just do the one click and move forward and apply to multiple positions. I actually gave them a few suggestions for it because I didn't like the way the careers page is opening up on phones and things like that. I said they need to do something about it. So hopefully they're adjusting it. Such a big company, we shouldn't have issues like that.
All right. Thank you so much for answering my questions. I really appreciate it.
Welcome, Leah. And if you want to network, just add me on LinkedIn. If you ever get
All right.
any more questions.
Thank you. Could you I can't access the chat. I was going to say, could you send your LinkedIn page? Yeah, but
Hey, Leah, I will send that to you. This is Peter Bartel, so I'll track your name down and I'll find your SNHU email and I'll send it that way. Thanks for letting us know the chat's not working. I was unaware, so that's good to look into after the session. I'm sure you're not the only one. But thanks for the question.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions? Feel free to put them in the chat here. Leah led the charge. Raise your hand and feel free to ask them that way as well. We got 10 minutes left. We'll give it another couple seconds here, and if None come in. Up. Yep. Briar just asked.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing. If you see multiple positions at a company that you like and you believe you want, you want to go for it, or you have the skill set to do it. Like, all it's going to do is put your name in front of them for one, so they're going to get familiar with your name. I believe that's a good move, especially if you're already working for the company too. It just shows that you want to get engaged and learn something else. Like, that's a big one that we like to do, is actually, keep our internal talent that we have, keep that turnover down and move them around. If somebody wants to learn something else, let them move. Don't restrict your employees. Let them grow. Let them grow.
And the question that Aaron's addressing is from Briar. What is your opinion on applying for multiple jobs at the same company? So
Oh, yeah, sorry.
definitely
I
good.
forgot.
No, it's all good. We none of us knew till just now. So all good. Carl just asked, what is the next step after this virtual meeting? So Carl, Aaron gave his contact info and his LinkedIn, so feel free to connect there. And I believe for Georgia and North Carolina, he said he could link you up with that recruiter. So that would be your next step individually, and then others accordingly. Connecting on LinkedIn or whatever you want to do.
Give him the careers page again.
Yeah. And while you're putting that in, Aaron, thanks, Bonnie. Question came through from Bonnie. Do you have a preferred resume format? Examples, columns, one page, etc.
Honestly, I like it simple. Just show me that you have the skill sets that I'm looking for, and then I'll reach out. I'm going to call you. I'm not an email person unless I'm trying to get a mass amount sent out, to be honest. But if I'm trying to fill one specific role, I'm calling you. And I'm going to say, hey, I'd like to speak to you. When could we set up a time? And then I'll follow up with that email after that phone call. So, and this again gets into, what is the position? If it's a position where you need to be detailed, then put the detail in there. But me personally, I like it boom, boom, boom. Here's my skill. Here's how long I've done it. The only reason nowadays I think a lot of people load them up is because of the software that they're using to scan some of the resumes. But a lot of companies are going back to hiring recruiters and sourcers and things of that nature. And as being a sourcer, put those skill sets on your resume. Like, that's how I find you. Like, when I Google something in a location, like say I'm looking for operations manager, I'll put that in as my main Boolean search text, my syntax, and then I'll add the location. And then all of a sudden, I'll get this list of people, and I'll go through and I'll check them and see if I can find, where it validates that why is this coming up with this person, and I'll dig a little deeper. So on your social media platforms, make sure you're putting those keywords if that's what you want to be found for. Like, searchability right now in this time is key if you want to be found by a sourcer. If you don't, then get rid of all that stuff off your social media platforms and make it blank. So that's my word of advice for that. I like simplicity when it comes to resumes. Indeed resumes you can't really use elsewhere. Some places don't really let you upload them. So just make a good either PDF or Word doc. A lot of people like to use the Indeed resumes, but they're not transferable through certain platforms. But I'll even help people make resumes. If I like them that much, they don't take long. I posted the careers page there for y'all if you need it, want to check it out. If you see anything you like, just reach out to me or Peter, and I'll do my best to help you out. What are some of the most common keywords you search besides operations manager when you were looking for something like that in a search candidate? So when it comes to when I'm sourcing, I would sit down and I would figure out all the alternative keywords for that position, and I would make a giant Boolean string. If some of you are educated in Boolean, it's just like a Google search. You're adding syntax and and or quotation marks, plus signs, minus signs. And it's just a big string of words that will bring back a search result of what you're looking for. And it's usually you cast a wide net and then you refine it. So if you want to be found, look those words up, like ops manager, operations manager, be some other ones. Google will give you the answers to this too. That's why I say always use your tools at hand.
Google and YouTube, pretty much anything.
So yeah, they got like supervisor comes up, senior manager, general manager, operational manager, but you got to be careful with some of those terms because they're too general, and that would be a wide net. I would end up adding like the industry for that ops manager. It all depends, you know what I mean, for what you want to get into. If a candidate's, oh, go ahead. Sorry,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, you can read it off.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Aaron. If a candidate sent in a resume, do you also look at their LinkedIn profile? So probably more of the white collar positions, yes. Blue collar positions, not so much. I want to know you got the hard skills I'm looking for. Like if you're a tradesman, I want to know that you can weld. I want to know that you can build and so on. LinkedIn, I'll go for more of the professional roles because it's all there. Most people in the corporate world and whatnot are trying to get into it. They want to showboat those skills. They're usually right there on LinkedIn. Me personally, I just Google a person. If I know your first and last name, I can find out what I need to know about you. Usually, and that's what data miners do too for certain companies. So again, stress the social media and what you do and all that kind of stuff. Like, you're welcome. No. Oh, do you recommend that candidates apply in Workday first and then reach out to you, or reach out to you, reviewing their resume and connecting with them, find the best suitable role for their skills? I don't mind helping anybody that's interested. And then what I would do is I would find that recruiter for that region and that business unit and introduce you. Or, if you don't want to do all that, the fastest way would be to go directly through our careers page, apply through Workday, and then that recruiter will follow up. They're on it 24/7, looking at candidates as they're applying. Well, not 24/7, but Monday through Friday, whatnot. Oh yeah, so yeah, Boolean search is it was named after a mathematician.
Can get a lot done in a short amount of time with it. So absolutely take
Yes.
Aaron up and Angie on Boolean if you're not familiar with it.
Oh, it's cool.
Yep.
Sorry, Pete.
No, there's a career services link in our YouTube page, a presentation specifically on Boolean searching, I believe. But if not there, like Google, YouTube, wherever to educate yourself, or contacting us at COC Career at snhu.edu that Angie put in earlier. It would be happy to help you with that or anything else career related. We're wrapping up on time here, so Aaron, I'm going to give you the floor for any closing remarks, and then we'll conclude it.
All right. Well, I appreciate being able to talk with everybody here and getting to come talk about my experience after graduating from SNHU. I was a 2019 graduate. Woo! I loved it. I recommended it to a lot of people afterwards. And I wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and just don't give up. Keep going, man. It gets better. If you're doing this to improve life and just to learn some new skills, keep going. Proud of all of you.
Thanks, Aaron. And this session will be recorded, and then we'll be sharing it in the comments section of Handshake. So if you register on Handshake, you'll be able to get the recording there. Thank you all for attending, and stay in touch.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Thanks again, Aaron. Thanks, Peter. Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys.